Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by the REC Toycast. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, with me as always,
Eric Icarus.
Eric,
what's up?
You can find us on the gram at REC Podcast. You can follow myself at Roman REC Podcast, and you can follow yourself.
Gulag_J_Wilden.
Check us out at REC Comics as well, where we're selling comics and toys and other collectibles, putting new stuff up every week.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited about the show.
I am too.
We're doing kind of a new segment, and,
yes,
and we hope that it's something that you guys enjoy. I'm going to let Eric set the stage for you.
Yes, we are going to be breaking down some of our favorite comic book story runs, right?
Yeah.
And
kind of revisiting him, and seeing
the fallout of these events.
Yeah, and seeing what holds true, what still works, and what we remember about it when we read them.
Exactly, and then it's a segment we like to tentatively call NERD-Vous Breakdown.
NERD-Vous Breakdown. It's
a little wacky.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. How it goes. See, we're just gonna put it out there.
We're gonna see what's out there. If you like it,
yes.
If not, F you.
Yeah. oh, you're coming with the heat. So the first kind of series that we're going to revisit was kind of my first big mini series that I remember reading and trying to get when I was a kid.
Right.
And it is the storyline Fatal Attractions, or X-Men Fatal Attractions, depending on how you think about it, from Marvel.
Right.
This was a 90s book. And it was this thing that crossed like 5 or 6 issues of mutant-related books, plus some tie-ins here.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I think this was kind of Marvel's first foyer into the crossover books, which I think a lot of the comic book community likes I've got to buy 50 other different books to get the story, the full story. So in this case, you're not only buying X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Excalibur, X-Force.
Yeah.
X Factor.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it was a way for them to boost sales.
Totally, and they had been trying it for a little while, and it had been working here and there, just like a couple different crossovers. But this was a big deal because it pretty much did every X book.
Yes.
And it's X-Men Fatal Attractions. And it is there to boost sales because of where it starts. And it starts in X Factor issue 92.
Absolutely.
I'll pull up a picture for you guys.
Yes, indeedy. I think it's a good way to start it off with one of your... I love X Factor, but I would say in the eyes of just casual fans, X Factor not the biggest draw in the X family.
Not the biggest draw. It's this new team that took over for kind of the original X-Men team that had broken away from Xavier, kind of
government sanctioned.
Government sanctioned, this and that. But this book starts here, and I'm going to have a better image that I've put up here for you guys, but this is for our reference. What was cool about the series, too, is they really went out. They had a different trade dress. All of them had a holographic image, like a card. You can see that on there. The card couldn't come off, but it was a really just like popping... thing that made you want to get it. Because, I didn't hear about the story beforehand.
Right.
I saw that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. Shiny. Totally. I need shiny.
90 shiny.
90 shiny. And this was great. There were some big... reveals in this book, but this really set up... We weren't really sure where the story was going to go, but this set the groundwork in X Factor 92.
Yes.
Right off the bat, the story opens up, and I don't know how much you remember, but the Acolytes, they're like at this nursing home, and these are the Acolytes of Magneto. This is in the fallout of kind of Jim Lee and Chris Claremont's X-Men run.
Right.
And they think that Magneto is dead.
Yes.
His followers. We, as the readers, we thought for a while that he was dead. We find out that he's been kind of secretly healing, or at least we think so. And this is kind of the setup for that. They're like, hey, we're gonna kill these old people, and we're gonna do this because they deserve to be put out of their misery.
Yeah, of course.
But they have kind of an underlying
reason.
They're trying to bring Quicksilver out because Fabian Cortez, spoilers, he actually is the one who killed Magneto. At least he thinks
we'll be talking hardcore spoilers here, kids.
Yes.
FYI.
So if you haven't read the book, or if you want to revisit it, we're going to be covering, the topics. And Fabian Cortez, kind of puts himself as like the de facto leader, but like, oh, hey, if we go get Quicksilver, the son of Magneto, he'll rule us and it'll be good. But like Fabian's like, I can control him too.
Yeah.
Because what Fabian does is he can kind of juice your powers.
Yes.
Or kind of dampen them.
Yes.
And that's what he did to Magneto. He like kind of got him addicted to like getting juiced up by Fabian, and then he kind of took it away and then just like really weakened him, and he started to kind of disintegrate. So they're kind of trying to draw Quicksilver out because this is a hospital and somebody's kind of narrating, like saying what happened when the Acolytes showed up. And it's this nurse who was there, and she gets like kind of strangled out by one of the Acolytes. Like his name is Senyaka, and he has this like whip, this like energy whip. And he's like, yeah, she's all burned up, and she's talking to X Factor.
Right.
So she's telling them what happened.
Yeah.
And she ends up dying from her injuries. And they have one of the Acolytes captured. He kind of tells them, oh, hey, like, I'll listen to Pietro because he's the son of Magneto.
Sure.
And he's like, all right, well, tell us, what they're planning on doing. And as they're flying to this, they get information from I can't remember the character that they capture. Do you remember his name?
I don't.
He's kind of this hairy character.
He's just an acolyte.
Yes, just your run of the mill
acolyte.
Blindly follows Magneto and is blindingly following Cortez.
Yes.
But they say, hey, they're going to this military installation. You guys should have access because you're part of the military. Basically, you're part of the government.
Yeah. And
they go there, and on their way there, we get our first appearance of Exodus.
Yes.
Exodus is a loyal mutant to Magneto,
yes.
and like super powerful. This is Exodus. This is actually how he appears in X Factor
right.
92. He just kind of shows up. Like they see him in their jet. He just kind of floats there, looks kind of menacing, and then flies off.
Yes.
So we're just like, what is this? Who is this cool looking character?
Right.
And we don't get his name here either. So he's just floating in the air.
I always loved the design of Exodus. I mean, seeing that image for the first time, like you said, it was like, oh, who is this?
Yeah.
And it leaves you with more questions.
Yes.
And, come to find out, obviously, he's super OP.
Yeah.
Only thing keeping him in check is his loyalty to Magneto.
Yeah. Even to this day in comics, he still does what Magneto says.
He could rip apart probably everybody.
Yeah, he's so powerful. He's so powerful.
He's got
telekinetic powers,
psionic
powers,
just
flight, super strength, energy projection. But he's loyal to Magneto in his dream.
Yes,
he's just a zealot.
Yeah, yep. But very very cool looking character. Thought he was awesome. Remember the toy?
Yeah, the only one we don't have. That's the only Exodus action figure.
We don't have a legend Exodus.
We don't. How do we not have an Exodus legend?
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I'm really speechless.
I know. I want one so bad. So bad.
Do you remember the X-Men animated series? They based this attraction off of. I like the guy who did Exodus's voice. I thought he did a really good job with that. So, just a little side thing there. I just thought they did. Exodus is just cool. I like him.
So when they get to this government installation that they've been given this tip about, they get there and Senator Kelly is there. Right. Senator Kelly's always in comic stuff. He's a guy who's adamantly against mutants for a long time and then is saved by the X-Men and then kind of changes his tune. At this point, he's kind of in the middle. And when they get there, Senator Kelly's there, and it turns out the government has restarted the Sentinel program.
Yep.
And no bueno. When it comes to people, especially people like Havoc and Polaris, who have actively fought against the Sentinels a lot. Yeah. At this point, the Sentinels hadn't really been used in a while.
No, yeah, been out of the game for a while.
And weren't the de facto villains, which they were, which is why, we hadn't seen them in a while. They call it, I think, Project Wide Awake. I know, right? And the X Factor has this liaison. Her name is Valerie. She's a human. She's kind of not the leader of the team, but like they kind of do have to listen to her.
Right.
X Factor gets paid. Their government.
She's the Nick Fury.
She's the Nick Fury for this team.
Yeah.
Well, and she's been acting weird the whole time. And as you're reading normal issues of X Factor, we know that she's been acting weird for a little while.
Oh.
And it turns out it's because Cortez had put one of the characters. She's like this vapor being. Her name is Amelia, and she's been like inside of Valerie, like controlling her.
Oh wow.
So she like throws her up. She tells him, hey, I wasn't in control. And they're like, well, did you know about this Sentinel program?
Yeah.
And she's like, yes, but it was only if X Factor failed.
Sure.
They, that they would implement this, and like, so all this trust is
betrayal.
dissolved. But it was really cool. And if you weren't reading X Factor at this point, because I believe they've been X Factor for like, I think issue 72 or issue 76 has been this new team. So they've been around for a couple years.
Right.
But they're still fairly new in the XIs. The next book it jumps to. Did you have anything else you want to say about
perfect. Man, that lays the groundwork to what we're going into.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of giving us the groundwork.
Yep.
Like we're like, okay, what are we getting into?
Yeah.
We don't know where we're going.
Which issue did you start reading? Because I didn't start with. Did you?
My
Okay.
pops was
okay.
He got the tip from Wizard.
Gotcha.
Old school Wizard that this is going to be the big X-Men story for the year.
Yeah.
It's going to build to something unbelievable.
Yeah.
They said. So my dad was getting every tie into this, and
Nice.
this was the first thing I jumped into.
Yeah.
So getting a very I want to know where this is going.
Yeah. So the next issue it jumped into was X-Force 25. And it's interesting because the Fatal Attractions was very much... it's not like all of these characters were actually crossing over with one another, which is what you would get in a crossover. It was almost just like the title of these books was Fatal Attractions, and the crossover was more Magneto and his people than anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's not like all of X-Force and all of X-Factor show up to help the X-Men or anything like that.
Right.
It's not that type of thing.
No.
They all get together in basically one spot, but we'll get to that point. So, for a little backstory on X-Force, Cable has been gone for quite some time, and yet again, it looks like he has been killed. It turns out he was lost in time, which is very common.
Kind of his thing.
Yeah, it's kind of his deal. And Sam Cannonball has been running the team.
Oh, okay.
He was an original member of this new X-Men team. X-Force used to be the New Mutants.
Right.
And the New Mutants was Xavier's third X-Men team after the original, after the second Genesis. Mm-hmm. So they were the third Genesis, and then they end up going with Cable later, who is a more radical, somewhere between Xavier and Magneto.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep. But definitely militant.
Yes.
So Sam's been running the team. It's definitely been weighing on him. And you have them on Proudstar's land, because actually, and it says in this book, he's the last member of his tribe.
Oh, Warpath.
Yeah, Warpath is the last member of his tribe, so he has all this land that is his, which is where he put the base.
Yeah.
For X-Force. As they get there, somebody starts taking him out kind of one by one.
Yeah.
They're bringing back Skids and I know. Skids and the fire kid. It's not Pyro, but he had fire powers too. I can't remember his name. They had been used by some humans as weapons. They had mental implants or something.
Okay.
So they're trying to help him. They're trying to help these two. And when they get back to their compound, somebody in the shadows just messing them all up, taking them out one by one. Not killing them, but just
incapacitating them. Yeah.
And then it's revealed that it's Cable.
Oh.
And he's like, "Hey guys, I didn't die. I learned a lot from time, and I understand I've been hard on you, and I'm going to try to be better."
Yeah, after I, knocked you out
and physically. Sam's like, I'm the leader here. And then, then they have this intimate hug to where he's like, I know you need help, Sam, and I'm going to help you.
And he's just beats him down.
Yeah. And, they kind of reconcile. And as they're doing that, Exodus shows up.
Oh.
And actually, says who he is, says what he's about.
Right.
Doesn't say who he's loyal to. So they're really slow burning this Magneto type stuff. And offers Sam and Roberto, again, Cannonball and Sunspot, offers them a place on Avalon.
Yep. Which is the new Asteroid M.
Yes. The old Asteroid M was destroyed with the Cortez stuff and the X-Men, coming there. In the story beforehand where we thought Magneto had died. And Avalon is going to be the new haven for mutants. Sam and Roberto say, "Hey, we'll go, but I want to bring everybody. They're all, these are all mutants together, for the most part, because Shatterstar is kind of not a mutant. He's from another world. I think he's a mutant from another world,
okay,
or dimension or something." And so they get there, they go to Avalon, and it's Grey-Mulkin.
Oh,
Grey-Mulkin is what they're using for Avalon. Grey-Mulkin is Cable's ship from the future that he thought was destroyed. Magneto Exodus have retrofitted it, and it is the new Asteroid M. It is Avalon.
I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, and Magneto and and Cable's upset, this is my tech, but it's clearly not Grey-Mulkin anymore. The systems all listens to Exodus. And then this is where Magneto reveals himself. He's like, "Look, I I don't want any quarrel with the humans. I just want to grab the mutants and go. Like, we will orbit. We're going to do the asteroid M thing without trying to fight the humans. We're just going to... this is a haven for mutants.
Right.
He offers the X-Force people to come on. They're kind of torn on whether or not they want to, but they don't want to, like, serve Magneto. Becomes a whole thing about them having to go. And in this book, it's crazy that they have this fight. You never want to fight Magneto if you're part metal.
No.
Because...
things happen to you.
This type of thing happens to you if you fight Magneto and you're part metal.
Yeah.
You have, Magneto just disassembling, basically, the metal components inside Cable and leaving him for dead.
Yep.
He's kind of you find out that he's kind of keeping himself together with his light telekinesis.
Right.
And the fact that even though he's metal, this is actually like a virus on him.
Yeah.
It's a living, like, they call it the technorganic virus. So it's not traditionally, he's not just like a straight up robot.
No.
Or a straight up cyborg.
It's like it's a biometal.
Yes.
Yeah. It's part of his skin now, basically.
And he gets pretty, like, messed up there, and you have the X-Force not join with Magneto. Magneto goes off because he's got other bigger fish to fry.
Sure.
And I should say this whole event was this was the 30th anniversary of the X-Men.
Yes.
So this is 93, 94 going on, and this was like. There's even a dedication. I actually have it written down here. Just a small dedication. It says, to Stan and Jack, to Roy and Neil, to Len and Dave, and to Chris and John. Ooh, so Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Roy Thomas, Neil Adams, Len Wein, Dave Cockrum, Chris Claremont, and John Byrne. These were kind of all of the godfathers of the X-Men.
Yes.
They all had historic runs on the books.
Right.
And you have Uncanny X-Men 3 or 4, which is the longest running, X title. Like, this is when because X-Men is actually X-Men 1. It's not Uncanny X-Men 1.
Nope, it's just X-Men.
It's X-Men 1 until, like, I think X-Men 99 or 100.
Right.
And then, so this comes off of that original numbering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Uncanny X-Men becomes Uncanny X-Men.
Right.
And then they end up starting a normal X-Men book later.
Yep.
So very confusing. But this was a double-sized issue. This is a lot of meat, and we have some. It's very sad because we are gonna open. Well, not really open, but we're gonna cover the funeral of Illyana Rasputin.
Yes,
Illyana is magic or Magique, and that is Colossus's sister. And if you remember, she dies due to the legacy virus.
Yep. Lots of viruses going around.
Lots of virus. A love virus.
Not Corona, though.
yeah, not the love virus either. Shout out to Carrie. And we're that's gonna be the main backdrop of this, is that it is gonna take place at Illyana Rasputin's funeral, which is where we're gonna get X-Force showing up, some of the X Factor, like, for the funeral.
Right.
I almost said festivities, Jesus.
But it got festive, sure.
Now, there was some tie-in book going on, some tie-ins going on for this, because when this book actually opens up, the Acolytes have turned on Fabian Cortez.
Yes.
Because Exodus has showed up and says, hey, this guy tried to kill Magneto.
Right.
And not only did he try to kill Magneto, he's not dead, and I'm his emissary, and you guys didn't know, so if you take out Cortez, you're good.
Yeah.
And Fabian's like, you know what? You guys think you can just, like, we've been rolling together.
Yeah.
We're trying
ride
to
or die
here.
Yeah.
And Cortez ends up kind of, draining their power, throwing them back. But Exodus just mops the floor with him. And he leaves him alive, though. Yes. He does leave him alive because he says he has the opportunity, because Magneto is forgiving, to repent and do other things.
Right.
So he's mortally wounded for sure, but we do know that he survives. It wasn't much of a fight. I thought it was going to be a little bit more.
Right, but the Exodus, again, OP to the max.
Like I said, we're at Illyana Rasputin's funeral, which is, I think, on the Xavier estate.
Yep.
And there's a really great... John Romita Jr. does the bulk of the heavy lifting on this book. It's great X-Men stuff. And there's a great scene where you have Xavier kind of, like, washing his face and just, like, having regret for having lost so many students.
Yeah, it's a heavy part of the book.
It's a really good, Romita really does convey just kind of like the empty sadness that Xavier is feeling for, this type of what's going on.
Yeah, it's almost a culmination of all his failures at this point. The ones that he's lost due to his vision.
Yeah,
he's almost like the way it's drawn. And that's the great thing about good art in comic books is that you're conveying emotions, and it's almost like, is my vision of this worth the lives of these kids in his opinion, So I think he did a great job conveying that.
And I'm not the biggest John Romita Jr. fan, but I really liked his run on X-Men, and I really liked his Daredevil stuff.
He did good Daredevil stuff. His Spider-Man stuff's pretty cool.
I don't like his Spider-Man, but I do like a lot of his villains.
Yes, that's what
a lot of his villains are really good. But yeah, his Spider-Man's just too blocky for me. And then we also get kind of some Magneto backstory, and we get to get more. This is a character that's been around for 30 years at this point. And we get more. I really like this story so much and this might be my favorite X-Men miniseries, by the way.
Wow!
Because it was kind of my first, and so many cool things happened in it.
Wow!
Oh, let me get to Uncanny 304.
Oh, here we go.
That's the cover. Good JR artwork, and we have these very these quotes on here: "An offer of salvation, a betrayal most bitter." This was the first issue that I bought.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is part 3 of the story, and I was like, "What is going on? Where did Magneto come from?" Because I did not see X-Force 25, so this made me have to go back and buy the other ones.
Oh, gotcha.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
Because when I was, we're in 3rd grade, 4th grade. I couldn't get all of the X-Men.
No.
It was so hard for me to get all 6 of these because I was only getting Uncanny X-Men and regular X-Men.
Right.
I wasn't getting X-Factor, X-Force, Excalibur, Wolverine. I wasn't getting, and I was like, "Mom, I have to get these. Like, it's a story. Like, I don't know what else is going on." I was like, "I don't know what part this is in the comic book." Ed's Cards and Comics was where I got mine from in the day, and he was like, "Yeah, there's 2 other ones. I can get them for you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I wasn't sure because this was a $4 book,
yes,
or $3 book. It was very expensive, but this was a double size one at least.
Yep.
Because the other ones were normal size, but this was like the big book.
This has arguably my favorite hologram of the series.
Okay,
this Magneto
the Magneto one.
It's
my favorite one
awesome.
too.
Yeah,
it's my favorite one too. We have I'm sorry, I got off track. So we get this kind of quasi Magneto origin.
Yeah.
We get we kind of saw it in, I think, in the was it in Days of Future Past? Oh, it was in Apocalypse when Magneto kind of has that family, and then the townspeople accidentally kill them.
Yep.
It was kind of what that was based off of.
Right.
So we see him with his second family. We're kind of getting the story of all the times he's tried that the humans have come for him.
Right.
When he's tried to just live.
Yes.
They won't let him live.
Right.
And so you kind of start to get a little bit more empathy and sympathy for Magneto and his cause. Again, Illyana's funeral, and we see Peter Colossus up, and he's burning his art, which was like a big deal in the book.
Yep.
A very big deal. Because he's a sensitive artist and a poet.
At heart, yep.
And this and that. A rose that grew from concrete.
Yeah.
Is Colossus growing up in the USSR,
yes,
Soviet Union, all of that.
War-torn country during the height of the Cold War, and it's a simple dichotomy that the big lumbering muscle guy is going to be the sensitive guy, but it works here so well. And
this might have been my first exposure to that.
Sure, me too.
Honestly,
yes,
form.
Yeah. And the scene of him burning his artwork, and you even at a young age, I'm sure you were getting glimpses of it's him, turning his back and turning into something else.
Yes.
It's like his past is dead. Where does he go from here? Mm-hmm. And I'm already getting glimpses of oh man, what's going to happen with Colossus?
Yeah. He lost his sister.
Yep.
He is just very, very melancholy.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Absolutely. See, he's actually questioning Xavier as much as Xavier's questioning Xavier at this point.
Yes. And just before the ceremony begins,
Colossus... Who's emceeing this mofo?
Xavier's going to be doing the eulogy.
Oh, I thought it was Bishop on the ones and twos.
Oh God. Yeah, it's not a wedding, okay?
For the future.
Yeah, the wedding for the future. No, but we see Peter, we see Colossus and Xavier kind of talk before the funeral, and just being cold with him, just being like, you know what, I failed my sister, and I blame you.
Yeah.
That we should have been better prepared. We should have
be sending kids into battle.
Yeah. Well, she gets the legacy virus, man. Not her fault. This was planned by the clone of Cable.
Sure.
Which we all thought was Cable. That was like the big reveal.
Yes.
In X Factor 4 or 6 or whatever, or X Force 4 or 6 or some of them, and they just kind of have this. They kind of have it out.
Yep.
And then the funeral is going to start. He's given his eulogy, and wouldn't you know it, old Magneto shows up.
Crashing the funeral.
Using it as a platform to be like, see, like, look, guys, I understand me trying to kill all the humans didn't work. Xavier's thing isn't working.
Right.
Why don't you guys just come with me? Why don't we just go?
Magneto's like, I just had a simple dream of killing all the humans.
Killing all humans, man. Oh my gosh. There should be fan art of Bender and Magneto killing all humans, or reminiscing about it. Talking about their human kill count. And, he's basically, he's holding everybody down. He shows up, he holds everybody down by the iron in their blood.
Yeah.
He's telling them what for, he's not there to fight.
No.
He's like, hey, if you want to come, this is what I'm doing.
But he could have picked a better time.
Yes. But
I think he was trying to be dramatic.
He's trying to, be heightened emotions.
Yeah.
This is what I'm offering. Take it or leave it. But don't come for me because I don't want to fight, but I will.
Yeah.
And if you guys come for me, it's cool. You're going to be in for a fight.
Exactly. You might want to like it.
No. And you see Bishop. He's just kind of like lighten up a little bit. Starting to get a little bright.
He's getting a little angry
because he's absorbing the power that Magneto is using against him.
Right.
And even though he can't move, he's like a battery being overcharged.
Yeah. So eventually he's. What happens to batteries when they overcharge?
Yeah, so you can tell he's getting ready to blow. Pietro's there, and he's telling his father, he's like, you know what? Your alkalites, they did this terrible thing at this nursing home.
You're killing old people doing God's work.
Yeah, they're like, in your name. He's like, they did it in your name.
Yeah.
Their deaths are on your head. And Magneto's like, look, I don't care about humans. However, this, Senyaka, and he's like, yeah, yes, sir, and, this and that. And he's like, you murdered these humans, and he's like, I did it in your name. He's like, well, I didn't tell you to. So he wraps him up with his own thing. I think he kills him. I mean, I think that's what it is. I think he just balls him up with his own thing, and he's kind of saying okay, this guy did a lot of stuff.
Sayonara, Senyaka.
Here's one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll give you him. We'll give you whip guy.
Kind of while he's doing that, Bishop absorbs so much energy that he's able to kind of break free and blast Magneto. Kind of messes him up. They're like, whoa. He's like, yeah. He's like, I that was my limit.
Yep.
So Cyclops like, hey, we're gonna juice you up again. Ooh. If he shows up, blast him again. So that's what they do. They're all shooting him. He's absorbing it. They don't know how much he can take. Magneto shows up to fight. He starts blasting him and all this stuff. And then Colossus.
Yep. This is what we like to call the betrayal.
The betrayal. Colossus straight up back punches. It's messed up, man.
Yeah.
He wasn't even looking. And gets punched right in the back by Colossus.
Right in his sciatic nerve. Right in his lumbar.
Yeah, he's basically like, hey, Magneto might be right. I'm willing to try something else because this other thing I've been doing isn't working. I don't believe in it anymore, and I'm going to try to roll with Magneto. So he says, hey, I got you. Go up to Avalon. I'm going to be with you shortly. Magneto and Xavier start to have kind of a mental fight here. And Magneto's actually keeping Avalon together with his magnetism. So the fight is becoming taxing on Magneto, and the Grey Mulkin's kind of coming apart. Yeah. So Jean is trying to keep it up so it doesn't kill all of them.
Right.
So Xavier has to abandon the fight to help Jean keep Avalon together, and then Magneto's able to get away.
Sure.
But you have this
iconic scene here.
Great scene.
The last person you think that would turn on the X-Men.
Yes.
And were you shocked?
I was blown away. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, I need these other issues.
Right.
Because, where did this come from?
Right. Why is he decking Bishop?
Yeah.
And why is he picking up Magneto?
And then when you go back and you read that, there is no allusion to that. You just get more of okay, Magneto had been gone.
Right.
Because again, I was trying to get comics every month, but I didn't have my own money. So I'm picking up where I can. And yeah, you just had this great betrayal. You have the fight was kind of going Xavier's way. He was about to stop Magneto, and then he gets away.
Old Metal Man.
So we go off into the next part of the story, which is in X-Men 25. This was a big deal book.
Oh, God. This is the one everyone remembers.
Yes. This one was out of nowhere. There's actually a black and white version and a gold print where the X-Men is gold as well. And there's actually, and I don't know if there's a full set, but all of the holograms kind of have this green-yellow hue to them.
Yeah.
There are errors, and there are blue hologram cards.
So there are variants to variants on this book.
Yes, and on some of the other ones with the hologram. But I don't know if there's a full set of the blues that exist.
Right.
But they do go for a good amount of money.
Oh my goodness. Do you have any?
I don't. And every time I think about them, I can't. It's just more than I want to spend.
Oh, for sure.
You know, they're
just for a little defect.
Yeah. Like if I would have found them in the wild, I would have been so happy. And if I find them for the right price, I will totally get them.
Oh, totally.
I was. This one, I was getting X-Men, so I did get this issue, and I'm glad.
Course. God, this was a big deal. This is a big deal, kids.
So it gets out, obviously, that that Magneto is alive, and not only is alive, he's extended this invitation to kind of be his own sovereign planet or country in space, and the world leaders are on the phone with Nick Fury and other people, and they're talking about the Magneto protocols. And it's like, ooh.
What do we got here?
I had not seen what that was. I didn't know if it had something to do with the project. What did I say? Wide Awake. I didn't know if they were in link to one another. But they agree to deploy this defense system, and it's basically like supposed to be an energy force field around the Earth.
It just keeps Magneto out.
All a Justice League of or Super Friends.
Super Friends. Yeah. I think, at this point, Magneto coming and going, messing up when he messes people up. I think the United States or the world at large just had enough.
Yeah.
And they had to push that Magneto initiative.
Yes. And I should say that Fabian Nietzsche, who we talked about recently, was the writer of this story.
Yes, indeed.
Many artists contributed, but Fabian Nietzsche, who co-created Deadpool, was the architect of the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
This book in particular, if Jim Lee didn't exist, Andy Kubert would be, in my opinion, the greatest X-Men artist of all time. His art is so good because he's doing a good Jim Lee impression. Sure. It's not quite Jim Lee.
Yeah.
His faces are a little bit more kind of wide.
Yes.
But his art is some of my favorite for X-Men.
It's got a good twist to it.
I
like his shadowing.
Yeah. He does great work, and I mean, in this book, he gets to shine.
He's got probably one of the most iconic images in Marvel Comics history.
Yes.
So I would say hats off to this man.
And we will definitely get to that point. But we get some cool stuff in here so that defense system gets deployed, and Magneto's like,
hey, what?
I told them not to do this, because for him, he's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to go get more mutants.
Right.
So he does an EMP in space and knocks out, so much electronics, across the world.
Right.
Everybody's freaking out. There's even a small Fantastic Four cameo. The lights kind of go out in the Baxter Building, and things like, Stretcho, is that you? And so we get a little taste of
something else coming up.
Yeah, and now it's decided, okay, we have to go up to Avalon,
and
the X-Men, we have to go up to Avalon, and we've gotta get Colossus, and we've got to stop Magneto however we can. And it's weird. I don't like. It didn't feel like they brought all the right people with them.
Yeah, well, we got to get to this real quick. That Professor X is walking.
Professor X has this crazy exoskeleton. Let me see if I have that pictured. I definitely. Oh god.
No one saw nothing.
It'll be in the next image, I think. So he's got this weird exoskeleton that's taking his his psionic energy, and it's helping him move.
Right, and it's Shi'ar tech.
I don't know why he wants to use this. It feels like it's not going to be super helpful for him to just walk around up there.
Around, guys.
Because he keeps putting it out there oh, this is taking a lot of energy for me to
I
operate.
have to power this. Dude,
but hey guys, I'm gonna walk with you.
Yeah. Just hover Professor X. And just bring your chair, dude.
He's gonna bring 6 X-Men total.
Yes.
He brings teams of Wolverine and Gambit, Jean and himself,
right,
and then Quicksilver and Rogue. Now, emotionally, some of these things make sense. It was weird that they didn't bring Scarlet Witch into the story at all.
Right. I thought that was odd, too.
But because again, with Wolverine, you never want to bring anybody that's metal
and who has a short temper
to go fight Magneto.
Yes,
but with Gambit, he's a thief. He can get into places quick.
Yeah.
Jean, telepathic, psionic powers, and telekinetic powers. Quicksilver's the son. Rogue and Magneto at this point have had an affair.
And a very tumultuous relationship
from the Savage Land story. Jim Lee, really good, really cool storyline. Great Rogue stuff.
Well, Rogue started out in the Brotherhood.
That's right.
So she's got a very interesting past with Magneto.
That's true. But not Magneto's Brotherhood, Mystique's Brotherhood.
Right.
So
but they know each other.
Yeah.
They definitely know each other.
There's barbecues. There's reunions.
But that's definitely not the team I would have brought. I mean, maybe Rogue because she's got the muscle. She may be able to do things the others wouldn't do.
And she has that emotional connection. That's why Xavier's bringing her.
Right. But Wolverine, metal skeleton and short fuse does not, and pointy claws does not equal a good recipe for diplomacy.
And Cyclops is like, I should be going with you.
What's up with you guys? Come on, guys. I got the plan.
And Xavier's like, look,
you suck, man.
No. Well, Cyclops is like, hey, you don't expect to come back.
Oh. And
he's like, I need you guys to carry on. So, there's no Storm, there's no Beast, there's no Cyclops, but Cyclops' wife is going.
Yeah, he's like, come on, dude.
Yeah. And he's like, look, and he tells him flat out, he's like, look, I need her telepathic abilities to boost mine. He's he's like, that's what I need.
I need to walk.
He's like, if I could leave her here, yeah, I need this, man. I'm going up there to die.
See this, man?
Yeah. He's got the super Gumby legs. Oh my god! I guess that would.
The old Azure.
Yeah. Oh my god. That would have been the best. I wish they would have had the gall to do that.
Oh my god!
Crazy Legs from Don't Be a Menace. Oh my god. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. So they kind of have this plan to go up there. They're going up stealth, and the Acolytes, they actually have Colossus on security.
Yes.
Because they don't trust him running around the ship.
No. They think this might be a ruse of some sort.
And to an extent, he sees the Blackbird coming, and he doesn't alert anybody.
Right. He's bad first day on the job. Come on.
Yeah. And he doesn't. He basically allows the X-Men to board. Before they're detected, you see Magneto and Exodus. They're having this conversation, and then Exodus is starting to disappear. And what they did was they engaged the teleporter technology, and they teleport him off.
Oh crap!
Into a pod, and they it jettison him out.
Oh, because they're
we're not messing with Exodus.
Yep. Just get him out of here. Which is smart. That is a good.
Yeah, because Exodus. Even when Xavier isn't trying to get Crazy Legs on us, he's a lot for Xavier.
Oh yeah.
He's
Exodus
just so powerful.
He's probably in the Marvel universe without going to God level. He's
an Omega level mutant.
Yeah, big time.
He's an Omega
hands
level
down.
mutant.
Hands down.
So it's a really smart move. It just stinks because we're excited to see
we wanted to see him do some damage.
Yeah, we don't see Exodus fight the X-Men.
No, not for a while.
At all in this story.
Nope.
It was so weird.
But I think they knew they wrote themselves into a corner. We can't have him. He's gonna kill him. It wouldn't be a fight.
We get a lot of really fun Magneto fights in this book.
If you weren't a Magneto fan at this point, you start to really appreciate Magneto.
You do. So we get a Magneto versus Gambit fight, which is really fun because he starts getting really irritated that he can't hit Gambit.
Yes.
Gambit's just kind of flipping,
doing his flipping stuff,
throwing cards
Cirque
at him.
Du Soleil kind of
Cirque
thing.
du Soleil in him, and Cirque du Soleil, am I right? And Magneto's just getting irritated, but he finally ends up getting the upper hand and
puts him down.
And then we get a Magneto versus Quicksilver fight.
Interesting.
And Quicksilver's kind of putting the hurt to him, and then at this point Magneto's like, "Look, man, I'm just trying to keep our people safe.
Yeah.
You literally work for humans.
Yes,
you get a paycheck from humans.
You take blood money.
Yeah." And he's like, "You know what? You're not my son anymore."
Oh.
And he's like, "You know what? You gotta be. I gotta end you." And so he's coming hard for Quicksilver. But before he can kind of get any kill shots on him, our boy Wolverine, the hothead, starts putting it to Magneto, slicing him up, dicing him up, cutting him up, however you want to put it. He's kind of getting the upper hand. And while he's doing it, Xavier and Jean are kind of trying to keep Avalon together, trying to
they're busy.
They're going to try to submerge it, I think. Into the Earth's atmosphere.
You
gotta put her in the water, guys. And so they're kind of taking care of that. Magneto's getting some well, Logan's getting some real good hits on Magneto. He's just talking too much. Yeah, if he quits talking, he gets out of this okay. And Magneto's had enough, and he's just like, you know what? We've had all these fights. He's like, out of respect for Xavier, I've taken it kind of easy on you.
Yeah,
and he just straight up. Ugh.
The iconic image here.
This is it. Andy Kubert at all his powers. The page, there's a lot of good stuff on this page, but this is the isolated image, and he just starts to rip the metal from Wolverine's bones, and it is brutal.
Yes,
he is basically being held together by. So Jean's got to kind of stop what she's doing, and she's trying to hold Wolverine's like flesh together.
Yeah, and his nervous system, just keep him together,
keep him alive.
Yes,
she's just keeping him together, and Xavier's like, I can't believe you did this.
Crossed the line.
Yeah, you crossed the line. Well, they crossed it first, and we finally get Xavier versus Magneto, like
the showdown.
The showdown.
Not sparring.
Nope.
No war of words.
Nope.
It's a fight.
It's a mental fight, and Xavier ends up just kind of making Magneto feel all of those terrible things he's done, all of the things he's been through, and then just like wipes his mind.
Yep.
Just like leaves him as a vegetable. He tells him, no more, Magnus, no more. And just like leaves him, takes his mind away from him. Which would later on have different ramifications, which I believe that we will visit on this series if we like it. But yeah, do you see him? He just thumps.
He's done.
Just like drops.
Yes.
And yeah, Magneto's just comatose, basically.
Yeah.
And they've got to get off the ship. Colossus
stays behind.
Excuse me. Yeah, he stays behind. He decides that
he's an alkalite.
Yeah, I'm an alkalite. I'm going to try to help Magneto. He lets them know, like, hey, I let you guys come on the ship.
Yeah.
So what's happened to Magneto here is my fault.
Right.
And
of course, Colossus is a very honor-bound character.
Yeah, even when he's doing wrong, he's trying to do it for the right reasons.
Well, we can't even say this is wrong.
No, he's trying something different. Like, I get it. He's lost everything.
Yes.
This is the only thing he hasn't done. Like, I have empathy for Colossus in this story.
Big time. Because I don't think again, that goes back to the gray area of Magneto. He is not always wrong.
Yeah.
So,
and so they're trying to get off there, and they're like, we got to get out of here. If we have any help of saving Wolverine's life, we got to go now.
We got to go.
So we go to, the story jumps now to Wolverine issue 75. All right, and we've got this gnarly, metal coming out of the flesh.
Yeah.
All of the X-Men are just like horrified at like what's going on.
Right.
But this is a really existential
Ooh, I like
story. Existential. I'm not sure how you say the movie. I keep saying eggs. And it's a really interesting way, because you can tell they want to give us Wolverine origin here, and they can't.
They can't do it.
They can't yet.
They can't do it.
We have, again, Wolverine being held together by Jean Grey. They're trying to fly the Blackbird back into the Earth's atmosphere. It's not without peril.
Yeah.
Wolverine's kind of going through these nightmare, like, hallucination scenarios. We kind of see an angel visage, like, trying to, like, take him away.
Yeah, come to the light.
Yeah, he's kind of reliving some experiences.
Yeah.
His body's just in shock. There's even a scene of him, like, his wounds, like, starting to heal up.
Yeah.
And then, like, reopen, because his healing factor is in such shock.
Yeah, it's like, what are we doing?
From having the metal ripped out.
Yeah.
So, he's in bad shape. The Blackbird's like breaking apart. Jean's trying to keep the ship together while also trying to keep Wolverine together.
Xavier's walking around.
Yeah, just dancing in the background, crazy legs in it up, and just really being selfish.
Selfish. Come on, Xavier.
He's real wiped from his battle with Magneto, dealing with what he's done,
and jogging.
Just too many stairs. There's a lot of stairs on Avalon.
That would be funny if Magneto built it like that with all these stairs. He's like, best.
Yeah. There's no ramps on Avalon.
That's why he wore this suit. If they justified it that way, I'd be okay with the suit.
Oh my god.
He's like, guys, you know how many stairs he put in there?
Yeah. This jerk.
He's like, you're evil.
Yeah, just evil. Magneto's just evil. And yeah, Jean's having tough times. Jean in ships coming back from orbit. It doesn't always end well for Jean.
It's not.
It doesn't always.
She's always the rock star, though.
If you know the Phoenix storyline, when she was trying to bring in a shuttle there too. She was
didn't work out very well.
She got the Phoenix Force in her.
Yes, but you know what? Unsung hero of the series, of this run.
Yeah.
Jean, a lot of people give her crap.
Yeah.
But she's a rock star. You're an all-star.
I was just thinking,
like, about her voice.
No. I was just thinking about because the ship's breaking apart. Jean's trying to keep everything together. Xavier's about to be sucked down. I was just thinking about his legs like flapping in the wind,
like a flag.
Yeah, like a windsock. And so Jean's trying to keep everybody contained, and then she gets blown out of the thing. She's like, hold on to the side.
Yeah.
Her legs are flapping in the wind. It's getting crazy. And in Wolverine's kind of psyche, he's going through the motions of it sounds like he's dying. Yes. And this angel is like, symbolism of him like giving up. And he's like going to reach for her. And as he goes to reach for her, he grabs her hand and he hears Jean. And then you see, let me see if I've got it here. So you see him being held together here. Oh man, I don't have it here. You see, in his mind, he's reaching for that angel's hand.
Yes.
But in real life, he's just reached outside of the Blackbird for Jean's hand
to bring her,
to save her
to the Blackbird.
So he's healed enough, and he pulls her back into the Blackbird,
right?
And they land as safely as they can, And she doesn't get a phoenix in her.
Yay!
Hey, everybody
baby
lives.
Steps.
Everybody lives, and Jean Grey does not get a phoenix in her,
exactly.
So she's good. And she's recently been resurrected in the comics as well. Like
That's right.
She has recently been brought
We've
back.
Gone through the Inferno story.
Yes.
Very complicated.
Wolverine's trying to find it's several weeks later. He's trying to find his place on the team, and they're doing danger room sequences.
Right.
And he's like, I got to get back in. I got to get loose. And goes in there. They let him go in kind of reluctantly.
Right.
And he's kind of slow. He looks kind of scared.
Yeah.
And these robots are coming for him. And it's just this great scene where he is, I'm the best there is at what I do. And he pops claws and he's just bleeding profusely.
Right.
And believe it or not, and you guys may not know this, not having read these stories.
Yes.
This is the first time it's ever brought up that Wolverine has bone claws.
Right. Like, he was born with the claws. It was always under the assumption that Wolverine, during the Weapon X program, was given claws.
Yeah, because we had seen a lot of flashbacks in the cartoons especially,
right.
And then in comics, where he just doesn't have claws.
Right,
We just never see him with claws.
Yes.
Pre a certain time.
Yes.
We know that there's a time where he gets, Dr. Cornelius and the Weapon X program take him. But before that, whenever we see stories with him, they just don't show him with claws.
Right.
So we never thought about this. And even there's actually even more word bubbles in this panel in the comic. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, it makes sense. Like, what would the metal have been holding to? But as readers, like, this blew our mind because we were like,
yes, he's
cool.
Wow, he's like a legit got an animal.
He's got claws. But he's bleeding out. They have to give him a blood transfusion. Like, he's having his healing factor is shot. His reflexes are shot.
Yeah.
His whole nervous system.
Yeah.
He's just in shock. And he actually leaves.
Yes.
He leaves the X-Men.
He literally runs into the woods.
Yeah, runs into the woods.
That's where we get Feral Wolverine.
And he kind of he leaves Jubilee this very sweet letter.
Yeah.
About he doesn't want to be a liability. He's not what he was. He doesn't feel the same way. So he leaves her this very sad letter in his cowboy hat.
Yep.
And he runs naked into the woods.
Yep. Out into the woods,
as Wolverines do.
You know what? Back to where they found him. I'm assuming.
Yeah. From whence he came. So it was a very emotional issue. This was issue 75 of his personal series. Yep. So at this point, because you had that Frank Miller, Chris Claremont 4-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
And then they did their second part, but then that just kept going into this.
Yep. Uh-huh.
So from
this
that,
never ended.
Yeah. So it just kept going into this series.
Yes.
And this was a big deal issue. You're almost to 100. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then we have the last part of this Fatal Attractions. Again, they're just trying to get everybody involved.
Because nobody was reading Excalibur.
Nobody was reading Excalibur.
A little backstory. It's the British X-Men team.
More or less. Yeah, it's basically what they are. Very cool characters. My girl, Rachel Summers, is the Phoenix cameo.
Kurt.
Kurt, Nightcrawler's there. The reason it makes sense is because Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde is on Excalibur, and she and Colossus were once lovers.
Yes.
as lovers do. All right?
They were an item.
Yes. So the X-Men kind of show up to fill in Excalibur, to tell Kitty like what happened on Avalon,
right?
And to kind of like, hey, we want to get Peter out of there.
Yes,
there's kind of this theory that he hasn't really depowered. Like, so Colossus can be in that steel form,
right,
or he can be in his flesh form.
Right.
Where they basically say since his sister died, like nobody can really recall him powering down.
No one's seen fleshy Peter.
Gross. And so they're like, hey, if we can get him and we can get him to power down, maybe he doesn't feel any emotion right now. Right. Maybe he's literally hardened. And if we can get him back to fleshy Peter, he'll be, maybe we can talk some sense into him. There's kind of this side story where, convoluted, this version of the Phoenix is Jean and Cyclops' daughter from an alternate future. Yeah, it's totally bizarre. So she comes back in time. This may or may not be her time thread. We're not entirely sure. But her and Jean haven't really hit it off. Jean is very weirded out by her existence.
Yeah.
But we get like a touching kind of talk out with Jean
it's cool.
and Rachel.
Yes.
Totally fun for me. There's a lot of family drama in this because we also get Cable and Rachel seeing each other.
Yeah.
And technically they're brother and sister.
Yep.
Spoilers. Technically they're brother and sister, but they have this like weird fight, and I don't fully understand it.
Don't either.
They're really starting to set it up because they say that Cable is Nathan Ascani. Or no, Nathan Dayspring, which is Ascani Dayspring, the chick who raises him in the future.
Yes.
So I don't
there's
understand.
A lot going on.
I don't understand where I keep it.
Yeah.
But we get some cool family drama in here, which is super fun. But they kind of create this plan to try to get Peter, and they have to talk Kitty into it because they were an item. They kind of get her to reach out to Peter and the Alkalites and like, hey, like I want to talk. I maybe want to join.
Right.
So hey, meet me here, and we'll talk about it. So they just kind of lure Peter out and try to catch him. Exodus doesn't want anything to do with it. He says, hey, I don't think you should. And he says, let me do this. He's like, I will be back. Like I'm not trying to run away. This is where I want to be. But if I can bring, I used to love this woman. Like I would like to bring her with me.
Right.
So they kind of have this talk. They're talking it out.
Have you heard of the term rebound Exodus?
Yeah. Do you have a moment to talk about the Alkalites? So they're having this kind of heart to heart. They're getting close. They're holding hands. They're being kind of like, hey, like you can see that Peter is very conflicted. And then Kitty phases him because he can't be teleported because he's not matter. So the X-Men come, they cuff him, they take him away, and they're trying to get him to power down.
Yep.
And they're like, hey man, if you can power down, we think you're gonna feel better.
Right.
It's like talking to like a depressed person,
Yeah.
Let's go run, man. Let's go run. You get some endorphins. So he powers down. He does immediately kind of feel like regret for how he's gone about some of the things.
Right.
But he ultimately decides to go with the Acolytes.
Yes.
He doesn't. He's like, look, I made a promise to these guys, and I meant like I want to try it a different way. He's like, I won't go kill humans.
No,
I'm not here to kill all humans.
Yeah.
I just want to be left alone, and I want to help mutants.
Yes.
Like that's what I wanted to do with Xavier, and it cost me dearly. I don't have anything left, and I want to try another way.
Yes. And they're like, okay, get out of here, you're risky.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody liked your red self anyway, okay?
Yeah. Go back to your purple costume and your capes.
Yeah. I like the redesign. We don't have a Legend of Colossus as an Acolyte.
I know, I'd kill for that.
Or we could kill for an Acolytes box set, too.
Yeah, come on, get on that. I want my Fabian Cortez.
I want Fabian Cortez so bad.
So that's kind of how it wraps up, right?
Yeah. This, like I said, this is probably my favorite X-Men miniseries, even though there are ones I
think are better.
There are better. This is my first.
This is it. This is my first. This is kind of what started everything you're seeing here, to be honest.
Yes. This was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I love all these X teams. I had always wanted all of the other X teams. I just couldn't get all of the books.
It's a lot of work.
But this was the first time that I was ever able to get all of these X teams like at once.
Yes.
And it put together this really homogenous story. It was really
great.
It was really
a lot of crazy moments in here, man.
It was weird that it was a Magneto. It ended up being like a Magneto and Colossus story.
Big time.
To an extent.
Absolutely.
Obviously the big stuff happens to Wolverine.
Right. He gets the big peak in the story, but it is ultimately a Magneto, Colossus, and Xavier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we get a lot of lines being crossed in this story.
Yeah.
Xavier crosses a line. Magneto crosses a line. It's watching these leaders, father figures crossing lines.
Yeah.
And kind of, what do you take from that? It's like, wow, if they can't stay sane or civil, what chance do we have?
Yeah.
That's what I took from this. And, it holds up great for me having recently reread it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this still kind of is canon. I know we get the Onslaught fallout from this.
Yeah. That's late 90s, so we still got a while for them to like.
Yeah, this was this was when the consciousness merged. So
we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually. But yeah, I'm in love. I still love it. I think it's great, man.
Yeah, it was still as good. It was still as good as I remember.
Yes.
It was funny. I could not find my single issues or my trade paperback because none of my stuff is organized. I apologize. But it was cool to revisit what I could find. I got that Marvel Unlimited app, so I was able to recheck some of these issues out. And yeah, it didn't feel hokey at all. There was a little bit of the Havoc stuff that was hokey.
Yeah. They didn't know how to write them.
They didn't.
At this point.
Yeah. And honestly, I think they've just gotten better at writing them in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But that's our kind of
NERD-Vous Breakdown.
Yeah, our NERD-Vous Breakdown. We just wanted to recap that for you guys, talk you through our journey. It was a really fun experience.
Yes.
And if you guys like what we're doing here,
if you want more of these and suggest a storyline run, we'll do it for you.
Yeah, we'll check it
There's
out.
one you want to see us do, like maybe God Loves, Man Kills.
Phalanx Covenant.
Yeah.
Messiah Complex. We want to revisit, we might look to do this once or twice a month.
Yeah, I think that'd be great,
like
dude.
That.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the one that started it, which again, oddly might be the start of something new we do here. Started your obsession.
Yeah.
This might start something new on the show.
Totally.
But if you haven't read it and you got the cliff notes here, go read it.
Yes, there's tons.
It's worth it.
There's
Go
a
get
lot
the trade.
more. There's a lot more stuff going on in this. We just hit some of the bigger points, but there's beautiful art.
Yes.
There's great action. It's totally worth a watch. It's very 90s and everything about it.
All the great ways. All the best ways possible.
Yeah, it's all sugar.
You get holograms.
Yeah, holograms,
crossovers.
Wolverine. We need some Wolverine
you get
stuff.
Boned up Wolverine.
Yeah, he's all boned up,
No fleshy Peter.
There you go. Boned up Wolverine. All right, kids. Hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think. That is, if you like what we're doing. Eric, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
Read this. Own this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great. It's not expensive, even if you want to get the single issues, except for those blue covers. Yeah, you're gonna like this story if you haven't. It's a quick read. It's real breezy. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I have been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm still Eric Icarus,
and we will catch you on the next podcast.